Good morning, Falcons. This is brush2. You want to open up your image from the internet in Photoshop and immediately use Save As to create a PSD or a Photoshop document. So my image is called Pretty Bird. The image from the internet is a JPEG, but I'm going to create a second layered file. When I look at the image, I'm going to notice that the background is locked. So I'm going to double click it, and the computer is going to ask me if it can be layer 0, and I'm going to say OK. The lock now goes away. I want to immediately add a layer. This is where the paint is going to go. I'm going to use this bottom layer as if it were a page that I tore out of a magazine. And my layer up here is like a blank sheet of paper that I'm going to use to trace the image below. Now, right now, this bottom layer is at 100% opacity. That means it's 100% solid. I want it to be kind of see-through. So I'm going to take this to about 50. All right, I lied. Let's do about 70. I can see the checks that indicate the clear layer below. In the bottom layer, I'm going to pick up a selection tool. I can use any selection tool that I think is useful. So I could use the magnetic lasso. Let's go after this purple. So we're going to go all the way around the color. Now this is why you had a very specific list of things that you could use for this project. And you have to make sure that you only have one of those objects in your picture. Alright, so I got a little blue. I'm going to switch to the regular lasso and click subtract and just make a loop around there. Alright, I'm ready to paint. I'm going to come up to layer 2. I'm going to select a brush. I already have a textured brush ready. And just like with the house, you might want to open a new document just so you can kind of test out that brush and take a look at the texture. Okay, all right, so let's go back to Pretty Bird. Oh, that's the Pretty Done Bird. And we're going to select a purple. And I'm going to make this a little bigger because one of the nice things about a selection is you can only paint inside the selection. So it's like better than a coloring book because you can't go out of the lines. And now I'm just going to click the brush and fill it in with that color. Next color, deselect. Go to layer 0, which is where the colors actually are. If you really wanted to, you could make the selections at 100%, but it does make it hard to see the paint. Let's go after the yellow. We're going to grab the magnetic lasso again and click. Really easy to follow the purple and along the green wing. But once I get down to the feet, I gotta do some more clicking to tell it exactly where I want to go. And I even have a little yellow in the background. Remember, you want to completely ignore the background and just focus on the object that you're creating. So your bird, your butterfly, your sunset, whatever it is that you chose. All right, we're going to get a yellow. I like little more gold. And I could use the same brush or I could switch it up. I'm going to try a cousin, which is 63. And before I put it on my image, I'm going to come over to my sheet of paper and see what it looks like here. You know, it's not exactly what I expected, so I'm going to change my mind. Let's go back to the brushes. And I like this one with the dots. Let's get a big size to test out. Oh, I like that. Okay, so here we go. Because it stays right in the selection. I don't care if the brush is really big. I can work with that. If I want to see what it's going to look when I print, I go to the layer 0 and I take the opacity to 0. That's what it's going to look like. So if I'm not seeing enough yellow, oh, let's go up here. Then I'm going to paint more in. You are in control of the machine and the tools. The computer is not in control of you. It will do what you tell it to, where you tell it to. So if you're painting down here on the layer of the photograph, be aware that before you turn this in, you're going to throw this away. You are only going to print what you paint. So here's a more completed project. Okay, it's not finished altogether, but when I turn off the guide layer, you can see the bird. This is what you're going for. This is the end of brush 2.